hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and you're about to listen to a nested loop hypnosis session which has 5 levels of disassociation, and it was created while I was doing a live podcast recording on the Awaken podcast. And I wanted to demonstrate how storytelling that is intuitive and generative could take place in real time, using some of the things that the podcast host suggested. So for them, they could think of a place that was relaxing on a beach in Hawaii, the landscape, the landmark somewhere in the world that they thought of was the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The element that they thought of, which was a magical place that you can't prove its existence, was heaven. And a fictional place was the home planet of Luke Skywalker in Star Wars called Tatooine. And I use these different environmental contexts, plus even a place within Tatooine, to link to different emotional states, resources, or suggestions. Now, a good nested loop starts a story, opens a loop, and then goes to the next story. So for those of you into nested loops, you're going to hear this in this particular session where on the very first context, environmental context Hawaii, there is an open loop that alludes to a treasure chest. And then in Paris at the Eiffel Tower, there is a glowing resource state. And then in heaven, there is an answer to a question or a change that they don't quite know yet. And then in this fictional planet, there is not only accessing wisdom, but also finding the patience to be able to make profound changes. And each of these loops gets closed, but only on the reverse direction. That's what keeps it an open loop. Now, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, if you're a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist and you want to learn more about this stuff, I'm actually going to be teaching this at HypnoThoughts Live, which is the world's biggest hypnosis conference in Vegas. I'm going to put links in the show notes where you can check that out. I'm going to be doing a 1-hour talk actually as part of the conference in terms of the theory of this, but more importantly, I'm going to be doing a 1-day workshop about the practical, so actually learning the skills. So if you've ever secretly wanted to learn hypnotic storytelling techniques and learn some quite advanced skills in just a single day, it might be worth you checking it out, particularly if you're already in the States. It might be, a short 1-2 hour flight to get to Vegas. Very cost effective for that 1 day of intense training. And you're going to leave that day with some very high level hypnotic skills. So if that's of interest, check that out. And you can just link it to the whole conference. So you can go there for 3 days and then end with 1 day of intense training with me where you're going to learn some quite high level hypnosis skills. So if that's of interest, check that out. The links are going to be in the show notes in the description. So you can certainly kind of find that. And I think you're going to get some value for this because this session is all about patience. It is all about insight, resources, but also it's quite a fun, creative journey that you're going to be going on as well. So find a quiet, comfortable place, the kind of place where you're not going to be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, that's it. Just relax those eyelids, feeling heavier and relaxed. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension, almost like each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to think of a color that represents pure peace. Imagine breathing in that color of peace, and as you exhale, give permission to release anything that might impede peace, any frustration, anger, stress, or anxiety. Imagine it leaving your body just like shadows leaving your body in your outward breath. And as you breathe in deeper than you normally would. And as you exhale, just allow that outward breath to continue for longer than it normally would. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. I want you to imagine scrolling on your phone looking at photos. And sometimes people do this based on location. So imagine clicking into that section where you can see different parts of the world and just hone in to an island there in the middle of the Pacific. And as you get closer, you see tens, perhaps hundreds of photos there in one of the islands. Zoom in closer and notice there's a cluster of pictures on a beach. I want you to imagine selecting one of those photos. Perhaps of the sea with the horizon. And just as Mary Poppins was able to jump into a picture next to a park, imagine stepping into that photo on your phone and arriving there on a beach in Hawaii. Imagine you're wearing whatever clothing is appropriate to be on that sandy beach under blue skies, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. But I want you to connect with that feeling of a gentle breeze, feeling the breeze there on your skin. And there in that place, just imagine, even if there was people, here in your imagination, it's private. You have the whole beach to yourself. And I want you to imagine somewhere on the beach, looks like a treasure chest. And the treasure chest has a combination lock. And you don't know the number yet. Imagine walking down that beach feeling deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to see a door that is not connected to a building. Just a door floating there on the beach on the sand. And I want you to imagine that as I count down from 5 to 1, you will imagine opening that door, walking through the door, and imagine arriving at the very top platform on the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But for now, you're on a beach in Hawaii. 5, putting your hand on the handle. 4, turning the handle. 3, opening the door. 2, walking through the door. And 1, closing the door behind you. And notice you're now on the top platform, looking out at the skyline of Paris. And I want you to connect with a feeling here of perspective, because you're so high up and you can see for miles around. I want you to connect to the perspective in your own life that if in doubt, zoom out. And instead of seeing the towns, the districts of Paris, I want you to imagine seeing your own life as if from up above. Different districts, different regions, different parts of your life. Health, finances, family, work. And from all the way up here, you may get an insight of subtle changes that need to take place. Not because they have to, but because you are the architect of your life. I want you to get a sense that here is also where you connect with something from your past that was once influential. There on that top platform of the Eiffel Tower, I want you to see a glowing colour. And this glowing colour represents a resource from your past that you don't use much anymore. But your life would benefit hugely if you did. But I want you to keep that glowing colour there. Don't absorb it yet. As for a bizarre reason, there is a wardrobe there on the top platform of the Eiffel Tower. I want you to imagine opening the door of the wardrobe and walking in, seeing coats and jackets and shirts. But this wardrobe doesn't seem to end. It looked like a small wardrobe from the outside. But as you go further and further, it has no end until you see a glowing light at the end of that wardrobe. Pure, bright, glowing light. And as you finally get to the end of the wardrobe, it dawns on you. You are no longer in an earthly realm. You are in heaven. And your imagination has an idea of what heaven is like. And I want you to imagine you're getting a glimpse of what it would be like if you were no longer alive. And I want you to imagine you're there with God or an angel reviewing your life. Those things you're proud of, those regrets, with one key thought: seeing your life as if it's over. If you could go back and make just one change, what change would you make? But don't answer that question yet. Just ask yourself the question, allowing your unconscious to give it consideration. Connect with joy, love, and peace there in heaven. And then notice a child slide there in heaven. A long slide. I want you to connect to that inner child within you and imagine climbing up the steps of that child slide. And as you slide all the way down that slide, I want you to feel that you're going further and further down. And when you finally get to the end, you're no longer in heaven. You are in a planet called Tatooine. I want you to imagine it's sandy, dunes and deserts. And I don't know if you go to a village or a bar with strange creatures, but there is wisdom on this planet. A level of wisdom that can enhance your life when you finally return. And maybe the wisdom is contained in someone old wearing a robe. Someone that possesses a force, a wisdom and intelligence. And just imagine that old wise man telling you something that becomes a seed that will later awaken as distilled wisdom. When you've heard the message but not made sense of the wisdom yet, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want you to get a sense that somewhere on the planet of Tatooine is a solitary place. Just you. Perhaps in nature, perhaps inside, and just imagine sitting with yourself. There is resources, new beliefs, new potentials, new perspective, that all are available in your future. And I want you to notice where patience exists within and give permission to amplify that feeling of patience, so that all of those things that are yet to come are given permission to come when they're meant to come. I want you to scan your body for where you feel that patience and just point where patience seems like it would have a home within you. That's it. Imagine it as a shape, as a color, expanding, glowing, spinning perhaps. And as it glows and spins, feel patience within you expanding, resonating, vibrating to every cell in your body. And when you feel that you have reactivated patience, the kind of patience that will enhance your life, reduce triggers, reduce unnecessary anger and frustration, let me know by nodding your head. So leave that place, but take the patience with you, knowing that the wisdom from that old man on Tatooine will reveal itself when the time is right. I want you to imagine seeing a slide there on Tatooine, but you're climbing up the slide now. Time is distorted. Maybe it was minutes, hours, or days or weeks, but eventually you arrive at a place that you can only identify as heaven. And there, I want you to feel that the answer to that question of if you could go back and change anything in your life, what would it be? Will either reveal itself now or come to you as an epiphany, a eureka moment. I want you to imagine seeing what looks to be a wardrobe, the back of a wardrobe. Imagine walking through that back of the wardrobe, brushing past jackets and coats, jumpers and clothes, and eventually after a long walk you find yourself there on the top platform of the Eiffel Tower. And there on that top platform is a glowing color that represents a resource that you need right now. a resource from your past. Clutch it with both hands and absorb it there into your chest and feel that you are absorbing that resource. And then notice beside the wardrobe is a door. And just imagine, written on that door are 4 numbers. Remember those numbers and walk through the door and find yourself on a beach in Hawaii. And on that beach in Hawaii is a treasure chest with a combination lock. And there are 4 numbers written on that door that open that lock. And just imagine opening that lock. The treasure chest is opened. And maybe it is full of gold and jewels and coins, or maybe memories and insights and beliefs. But there is one item in that treasure chest that is more valuable than all the rest combined. You may know what it means, or just take it in the object that represents it, maybe a gem, a jewel, solid gold. Hold it in your hand, and then imagine seeing somewhere on that beach is a phone. Jump into the phone and imagine you're staring at the phone, looking at photos of Hawaii, and realize you've been on a wonderful journey in your imagination, a journey of dreams within dreams, thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas. But now it's time to return to the present. But you return with that patience, with that wisdom, with that one change that could be useful to make, with a new level of resourcefulness and something valuable that will enhance the quality of your life. Time to return now, so take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.